YMYW friends, welcome to 2025. Today on Your Money, Your Wealth podcast number 511, we're revisiting your favorite topics of 2024 as Joe and Big Al spitball on strategies for building up tax-free retirement income in Roth accounts, determining your appropriate mix of taxable, tax-deferred, and tax-free savings, also known as tax diversification, and whether YMYW viewers and listeners can retire as soon as possible. Check the timestamps in the episode description to jump directly to watch or listen to any question, see which episode it originally came from, and where and how you loved it the most in 2024. Click or tap the Ask Joe and Big Al link in the episode description to get a retirement spitball analysis of your own. We'll kick things off with spitballs from two of our most popular episodes on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and Spotify. I'm executive producer Andi Last, and here are the hosts of Your Money, Your Wealth, Joe Anderson, CFP, and Big Al Clopine, CPA.
Joe and Angelina Jolie. Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's supposed to be a reference to you and Angelina Jolie.
Oh, might as well. Strawberry Plains, Tennessee. Hello, Joe, Big Al, and Andy. I've watched YMYW for the last 5 years and watched all episodes from the beginning. What is wrong with you? How many episodes have you seen, Big Al?
Let's see. I told you about 3 weeks ago I watched one. I think that's it.
Okay. I'm 63. And my wife is 57. Drink of choice is a good Hefeweizen beer. And the wife prefers a Moscato. Another Moscato. What the hell is Moscato?
I believe it's a sweet wine.
It's a wine?
Is it
sweet wine?
Sweet wine? That sounds right.
Moscato. When the mood hits. I'm semi-retired now with passive income from rental properties of $1,600 a month. The little lady is still working full-time and covers the insurance and a few bills we have. We are completely debt-free, as in owe nothing on our house, valued at $400,000. And the Nissan Pathfinder's paid off. I have $1.3 million in IRAs, $1 million in traditional, $300 in Roth. And each year I'm moving $100,000 from the traditional to the Roth. We have a brokerage account, $25,000, along with passive income mentioned earlier. We have an emergency fund of $80,000 in savings and an HSA totaling $50,000. The wifey makes $70,000. Where's this guy from? He's like, here's that little lady. And
Strawberry Plains, Tennessee.
She likes a little Moscow when she's in the mood. Come here, little lady.
Is that what you call your little lady?
Oh. Rosemary.
You can't get away with that in California.
No.
The little lady, the wife. Yeah. Have you ever
wifey
said...
even?
Wifey, she'd slap me.
Yeah, me too.
The wifey makes $70,000 from work and has IRAs, $50,000 in a traditional, $30,000 in a Roth, along with several CDs totaling $40,000. I plan to collect Social Security at age 70, if all goes well, which will be $4,300 a month, and we can retire early at 65, which would be $1,400 a month due to early, but possibly collect spousal benefit if higher. We would like to retire abroad, maybe Asia, to stretch out our retirement dollar a little bit further and enjoy some sightseeing. That said, we're planning on using $120,000 per year adjusted for inflation. With the income as it is now, are we doing fine? But what would you do? And what does Big Al think? Are we on track? Thanks. Tomb Raiders. Tomb Raiders. Okay.
Yeah.
Angelina Jolie. Yep. Was there a male in that movie named Joe? I don't even know. I mean, the whole thing was about Angelina Jolie.
Yeah.
There's a couple of different Tomb Raider movies. Seen them both.
Have you?
Oh yeah.
I only remember her, to be honest.
I figured. No, they're all right. Those were ages ago too.
But it's a long time ago. Yeah.
So Al, what do you say?
Well, so they've got about $1.5 million, Joe, and expenses are $120,000. He's got about $20,000 of rental income, so they're short about $100,000. but wifey is working. If wifey wasn't working, it doesn't look very good. They'd have about a 6.7% distribution rate. But with the wife working and getting to the point where, she would trade work for Social Security. Yeah, then at retiring at age 65, then I think it probably does work, right? That's a number of years off, but I think they'd be okay as long as she continues to work, but she's going to have to. But that's what he's implying. He's saying that she can retire early at 65. So that's, I guess he's thinking that would be early for her while he is semi-retired. So yeah, I think it may work, Joe.
Well, she's 57. She's going to work until 65.
That's what he's implying, it seems. He goes, I plan to collect Social Security
Well,
at
that's 8 years.
70.
So he's going to be 70?
Yeah. Plan to collect Social Security at 70 if all goes well, which will be $4,300 a month, and she can retire early at 65. So I think that's what he's thinking.
So 70 is the retirement date for him, 65 for her.
Yeah.
So he's going to have 45,000. He's going to have the 20,000. So that's 50, 70,000 with inflation with her.
Yeah.
It's 90,000. They're spending 120 adjusted for inflation. Yeah, I think they're sitting pretty.
I think
where
it
in
works.
Asia, I would wonder where the tomb raiders are going to go.
A good question. A lot of people like Thailand, and I've heard the cost of living's a lot cheaper there. So maybe
But I would imagine like Japan would be pretty expensive. Right?
I think that'd be maybe even more expensive. Would be more expensive than Tennessee, I would think.
Right. It would be more expensive than almost Southern California.
Yeah, right. Certainly Tokyo.
I hope they visited the place that they're planning on retiring before they actually set down roots there.
Yeah, I'm going. I think I have a trip to Korea next year.
Wow.
You have a trip? Really?
I don't know how I'm going to make it. I don't know if they're going to.
Wait a minute. Not only do you have a trip, you have a trip across the ocean to Asia, Korea. That's amazing.
I know.
In episode 500, we just revisited the fact that Joe's been to like 3 countries in his entire life. This is you're stretching your wings, literally.
Wait a minute. Are you starting your go-go years now?
No. Yeah, the countries usually you could drive to. When I lived in Minnesota, I could drive to Canada.
Right.
I live in San Diego, I could walk to.
You could walk. Well, you have to take.
Walk,
got
but I
it.
couldn't.
Yeah, you have to. You drive down to the border and walk across. Yeah.
Yeah. My wife is what is she, a quarter Korean? So
Yep.
I guess we're gonna just pack up the family and
Got it. Well, you should go to
There we
Thailand.
go.
You should go to Thailand too.
no, I think this would be the last family trip of
Is that right? Okay.
I don't know. I like to stay in my bubble.
I know you do.
Yeah, stay tuned. Let's see if we actually plan this trip. So
Yeah.
this is Theodore. I'm 61, and Louise, my wife, she's age 60. We're living in North Seattle. Louise likes red wine from one of the many wine club memberships that we have. I drink a cold Pilsner, red wine, occasionally Fairmont Lush. What's a Fremont Lush?
Fremont.
That is an IPA.
Oh,
I
Wouldn't work for you.
There you go. Okay.
Got no pets? We raised 2 young men who are financially independent. Yippee!
That was very good.
Yeah, killed it. My wife and I are both elementary school teachers. I plan on retiring after 33 years this coming summer at the age of 62. My pension will be around $38,000 a year with a COLA of 3% annually. My wife will continue working until she's 65 and have a pension of about $40,000. She will pay my medical until I'm 66. She's on a different state plan than me and will be teaching 12 years, so is unable to collect her pension until 65. We will both collect Social Security at 67. My Social Security will be $38,000 and Louise will be $34,000. I have a 403B state teacher account of $930,000, additional 403B of $250,000 and $70,000 in Roths. Louise has a $260,000 403B and a $70,000 Roth. Together, we have a brokerage account of $210,000 and $60,000 in our savings account. Louise will continue to add $2,000 a month to her 403B and contribute $8,000 yearly to the Roth until retirement. Our annual income is $260,000. However, We put into our various accounts about $5,500 per month of that income. We would like to spend $160,000 annually after taxes when we are both retired. During the 4 years until Louise retires, her salary will be $142,000, and I will have my pension of $38,000, adding up to $180,000 gross income for those years. We'll be taking little from any investments or our retirement accounts during that time. Here's our questions. Is the plan feasible? Sure sounds like it.
I think so too.
You got, let's see, $2 million liquid,
Yeah.
roughly.
Yeah.
And then the bridge, when he retires, she's going to continue to work. So
Yeah,
he's
so
got his
there's-
pension of
there's plenty-
40 grand and she's
plenty
got her
there.
income.
Yeah. So when she retires, then she's got her pension. He's got his pension. The $2 million is going to be worth more because she's
still
adding money
saving.
to it.
Right.
Right. And then that's even without Social Security. So yeah, I think this looks pretty good.
Yep. As I understand it, I can contribute to my Roth IRA until Louise retires, since she is contributing to a Roth. Is that true? Well, kind of. There's a spousal contribution. So this is a really good question.
It is a good question.
Is that so? Theodore is retiring, so he doesn't have earned income. So there's certain
Right.
qualifications that you have to put into retirement accounts, and earned income is one of them.
Right.
But he's retired. He's collecting a pension, but the pension isn't earned income. It's not
Right.
classified, even though he earned it. From an IRS perspective, it's not called earned income.
Yeah. The reason is because he didn't currently pay Social Security taxes on it.
So he's like, well, if my wife puts into a Roth, can I put into a Roth? Well, the qualification has nothing to do with her putting money into a Roth IRA. The qualification is she has earned income if you're married to her.
Correct.
If she has earned income and you're married to her, then you can put money into a Roth. It's called a spousal Roth IRA or spousal IRA contribution.
Right.
So good to go.
Yep.
My employer in the last year is giving a Roth option. Can I have two Roth accounts? What is the max for both? Okay, well, now you're confusing two different things. You got a 403B that's a Roth. You can absolutely fully fund that. And then you can fully fund a Roth IRA.
Yeah. Two different things.
Two totally different things. You got the 403B or a 401k. For those of you that have a 401k plan or 457, let's say he has a 457 with a Roth option, which I believe he does.
Yep.
He could go 100% Roth in all of the plans.
Yep.
So the limit on 403Bs is 30
30,500. Yeah.
and then 8,000 for the Roth.
Correct.
So yeah, you could fully fund that. And then you could do a conversion. Here's number 4. Here's the Roth conversion show with Big Al.
No, I think it's the JoJo show.
I think we are very underfunded in Roths. Would it be wise to start doing conversions? If so, how do we choose the amount each year that the account? How do we choose the amount each year, and what account do we use to pay the taxes? Thank you for any non-advice you can give. Thanks, Theodore. This is not advice at all. Use your taxable account, use your brokerage account to pay the tax. Should it make sense to do conversions? Your fixed income is going to be roughly $150,000 per year. You're not going to touch the $2 million that you currently have now for maybe
For a while. Maybe for a long time.
Yeah. And the amount that you pull out is probably not a lot.
Right.
So does it make sense to do conversions? I would say, yeah, you would probably want to map it out a little bit, but off the back of the envelope here, I would say, yeah. And
I think so too. And I would probably, given your situation,
so he retires at the end of this year?
in the summer this year. So should he do a conversion this year? Depends upon his income and whether he got extra vacation pay and whether it makes sense. But the thing is probably stay in the 22% bracket.
Yeah, stay in the 22, and the top of the 22 taxable income is.
Yeah, that's let me see here. That's a couple $100,000.
So taxable income. So it's not your gross income, adjusted gross. So you have to look at your tax return and kind of forecast this out. So look at your taxable income. Stay in that 22% tax bracket.
Yep.
And that's where I would kind of start. And
Yeah.
if I were to pay the tax, I would pay it from my cash or taxable
Yeah,
account.
I would too. And to say that another way, 200,000 is the top of the bracket. Standard deduction is about $30,000. So total income about 230,000-ish is what you could do. So it would be your income, your wife's income, plus Roth conversion, no more than 230.
Okay, did you see that document that Big Al was referencing when he was talking about tax rates? That is the 2024 Key Financial Data Guide. And along with their email list and their HP12C financial calculators, that single two-sided sheet is a must-have for Joe and Big Al to be able to spitball for you. Download a free copy for yourself in the link in the episode description. It'll show you at a glance the 2024 tax brackets and capital gains tax rates, retirement plan contribution limits, tax on Social Security, Medicare premiums, and all the current credits, deductions, exemptions, distributions, and exclusions. All the numbers that you'll need to do your 2024 taxes and all the numbers that affect your financial strategies as you plan for retirement. One listener said that basically this guide alone is worth the price of admission to YMYW. So it's priceless. Just click or tap the links in the episode description to download the Key Financial Data Guide, to ask Joe and Big Al for your retirement spitball analysis, and to access plenty of other free financial resources. Make sure you're following us on YouTube and in your favorite podcast app, and subscribe to the YMYW podcast newsletter so you can get your hands on the 2025 Key Financial Data Guide as soon as it's available. Up next, YMYW listeners want to punch the clock at work for the last time ASAP. Whether or not they can was a big topic of discussion in 2024.
Hi, Joe, Al, Andy. Ricochet.
Ricochet J.
Yeah.
Ricochet J. I was going to totally butcher that, but I took a guess that it was Ricochet.
That's
Well done.
good for you.
Yeah. He's here from Ricochet J from Colorado. Now, this is surely what my golf nickname would be if I played more. Okay. A little Ricochet, probably a little blade it right in the trees. Thank you for taking my question. I started listening to the show about a year ago, and I wasn't sure about it. Well, just one of you. I know where he's going.
I wonder
with that.
which one.
I know. See, it's just like I'm a fine wine. It just takes time, and you fall in love. But you've grown on me, and I enjoy listening each week during my commute. Now, not really into cars, so I'll tell you, the last exciting place we traveled was to Monaco and the Canary Islands.
Or Morocco.
Whatever. You say Morocco, I go to Monaco.
It turns out they're different places.
It's so beautiful at both.
A little better in Monaco, in my opinion, but
Oh, look at Snooty Bahooty over here. Okay. The coast of Morocco is amazing. And it's worth the road trip. Drink of choice for me is a Paloma or a glass of Chardonnay. Husband doesn't drink, but he does love those athletic NA beers.
non-alcoholic.
Yeah, I've never had one of those.
Yeah, I have. They're pretty good.
Are they?
Mhm.
Yeah. I think I'd rather drink water than NA beer. But maybe
Well, I'll give you 10 more years when you don't need quite as much alcohol, but you still want to have
have
fun.
a little taste.
Yeah, a little taste. Yep.
Okay. All right. I am looking for a spitball in our situation and wondering how best to direct an expected increase in income in the future retirement funds. Okay. I work for a municipality and my husband is self-employed. My question is whether we are better off directing surplus funds to a brokerage or setting up a solo 401k for him. Here's our info. We have a combined gross income of $200,000, and next year I expect to have a pay increase to about $15,000. I'm 45. My husband's 51. We also have a 10-year-old son. We have currently retirement savings of $285,000, $125,000 in Roth IRAs, $85,000 in a rollover IRA, and $75,000 in our Roth 401k through our current employer. I've been maxing out the Roth IRAs, including catch-up for me and my husband, the Roth 401k each year, and plan to keep doing so. I'll be eligible for a pension, and since I'm already close to 10 years in, I think I'm in it to win it, and will try to stay in the system. My hope is to reach a point where I'll receive around $50,000 a year from the pension. I'll have to stay at least another 10 years to wait to draw upon it until my early 60s. We have a brokerage account that I just set up this year. We have about $10,000 in it. We currently add $500 a month to this. Our primary home is worth $800,000 and we owe $330 on it at a 3.25% interest rate. We also have a rental home in Denver, also worth around $800,000 with no mortgage left. It currently nets out $30,000 a year in rent after expenses. 30 grand on 800. That's really good.
It is.
All right. Our son has about $55,000 in his 529 plan. Our account and the grandparents. We'll keep putting funds into this, and I'm a little more worried about a retirement right now. So I'm not going crazy with that in just adding $300 a month. Wow, Ricochet J. This is a novel.
It keeps going.
Yeah. Spend about $8,000 a month, depending on where it's hockey season for our son, aka the longest and most expensive sport a kid can play. Never played hockey, but my best friend did in high school. I expect we'd spend the same or a little bit more in retirement since we'd love to travel. All right. We'd like to retire as soon as humanly possible, but I know in reality that it won't likely be until our early 60s. If we could work some spitball magic to see if late 50s were in for us and early 60s for my husband, that would be great. Since my husband is 6 years older and could tap into his Roth 401k sooner than I can access my funds, would it make sense for us to start one of those for him, or should we start putting more funds into a brokerage account? It seems to me the solo Roth would be a better option, given that there isn't any tax on the flip side, like a brokerage, and we use either to bridge the gap until I could use or turn on the pension. I don't pay into Social Security currently, so my projected payout is low, $12,000 at 67 or $15,000 at 70. Is that 15,000 or 1,500?
It's 1,500.
1,500 a month, 1,200 a month, and 1,500.
I think so.
Yeah, my husband's is 1,250 at 62, 1,900 at 67, 2,450 at 70. We have a loose plan that as we near retirement time, we'd move back into our rental to get 2 years of primary residence back before selling the lot. We'd love to move around, maybe France, or move abroad, maybe France, and live in a country with a national health care. But we'll see what the state of the world is in 10 to 15 years. I'd like to see what the state of the world is when I get done reading this question.
It's still going.
I'm sweating. This is hard work here. Can you spitball how we're doing and how I should be directing our new funds? Is our dream of living in the land of baguettes and vino on track?
Bread and wine. Translated.
Okay, thank you, bro. I'm also curious if you approve of my asset allocation strategy. I'm going heavy on stock since I have a pension coming. I have my husband's Roth IRA, 70-30, right? The brokerage is all in stock market. We're just trying to sort out how to best fund the gap until we can start reaching our Social Security and our pension, hoping that between some of the combined house sale funds in the brokerage of our Roths. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Thanks so much for your insights. Keep up the great work. All right. So she's got some extra cash.
Right.
She wants to put it in a brokerage account or a Roth 401k.
Yeah.
All right.
So that one's easy.
So total assets. She's got $300,000.
Yep.
85 in a rollover IRA, $10,000 in a brokerage, $200,000 in a Roth.
Yep.
Okay.
Rental income, $30K. $50K a year in pension later. So let me recap a couple of things here, Joe.
All right.
So first of all, question whether we're better off directing surplus funds to a brokerage or setting up a solo 401k for him. I would do the solo 401k every day of the week, particularly since when the funds might be needed, according to your explanation or question, he'll be in his 60s and it'll be fully available for withdrawal, right? So yes, do the solo 401k. It's going to be tax free. So that's an easy one. In terms of whether you're going to be okay, first of all, thanks so much for your question, but this really is a better question for a financial planner to run an analysis instead of us trying to figure out all these numbers in our head. But nevertheless, I did do a spitball for you. So I'm going to say this. You got 300,000 now. You're adding about 38,000 per year based upon 2 Roth IRAs and maxing out a 401k. I'm going to say 12 years from now. I just made that up. You're 57, husband's 63. 6% interest, you end up with about 1.2 million. Okay, so right now you want to spend about 96,000 a year. 3% inflation, 12 years from now, that's about 137,000. Okay, there's a pension of 50,000 a year, although you won't get it until I think you said 60, but I'm going to put that in anyway. And rental real estate 30,000. So that's about 80,000 off the 137. So in other words, you need 57 grand from your portfolio. Then you take $57,000 shortfall, divide that into what you have at that point at a 6% return, 1.2 million. You get 4.8%, which is a little bit higher than we'd like to see. However, if your husband takes Social Security at 62, which we're not necessarily recommending, but if he did, then that distribution rate would go down to 3.5%. And you're kind of right on the cusp, but I'm going to say maybe it may work out for you. But this is something that
hold on. Let's see. There's an easier way to do this. And
Okay.
don't start peddling financial planning services over there.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you can't, it's hard to spitball this when there's so many variables. I don't care.
It's almost impossible.
I don't care if she uses a program herself.
Here's $96,000 is what she wants to spend, and she's 45 years old, right?
She is 45. Husband is 51.
All right.
Okay.
And so she wants to retire in the late 50s?
Yeah.
Okay. So 45, 55. I'm gonna get her retired at 60.
Okay, you're going 15 years.
I'm gonna go present value, and then you got 15, and then let's say inflation is at 3.5%, and then so that's $160,000 living expenses 15 years from now. I'm just taking that 96,000
Okay.
and pushing it out.
Now I got 140 for 12 years, but
Okay.
in the ballpark.
But so at 60, she's going to have $50,000 pension. I don't know if there's a COLA on that pension or not, but
Don't know.
she's pretty excited about the pension. So am I. I would be too. 50,000 plus another 30,000 of rent. I don't know if there's going to be an increase in rents.
Yep, that's right.
So $80,000, call it. So she needs another $80,000, not including Social Security. She says she's going to have a pretty small Social Security, and then you got to bridge the gap with the husband.
Sure.
So if you need 80, what was her husband's Social Security?
Well,
And
it's 62, it's 1,200, then 1,967, 2,400 at 70.
All right. I'm going to say she needs, like what you said, $50,000 is what the shortfall was?
Yeah, that's what I calculated.
I would say she needs to target like if you could get to $1.5 million over the next 15 years, I think it's sitting in a really good spot.
Yeah.
Right. So it's just kind of focusing on a goal, what the number is. I think once people can get a number in their head, then they're much more apt to achieve it. But you're right. I mean, we're just spitballing. It's a back of the envelope. But if the more that you could save, right, and the more that you invest, you're all in stocks. You don't need the money for another 12 to 15 years. I think all of that is really good. You're in low-cost index funds. Great for you. Should you put money into more Roth IRAs? Yes, because you're going to have a lot of fixed income. So you're doing all the right things. I think where you're driving yourself crazy or making yourself a little bit nervous is that, yeah, you want to travel more. You want to go get some wine and vino and baguettes or whatever the hell that is. And then you're going to sell the house. So there could be equity within the home if they're going to, hang out in Francais.
Could be. Yeah.
You get baguettes.
Although the rental income would go away, but
Well, no,
yeah.
he's got a rental and the primary.
I know, but she's saying she might want to move into the rental.
Oh, I didn't read that. Well, I got bored of it or something. But let's say if she gets $1.5 million, right? So that's the target. So if you don't ricochet this. Just kind of keep focused, keep saving, and then if you can get to $1.5 million, I think you're sitting in a really good spot.
Okay, I'll accept that.
Right. Sometimes it gets super confusing because there's all these cash flow needs that have to happen at certain time periods because your Social Security is timed at a certain right? Then your pension's going to come in. You want to retire at a certain point, but then your husband's going to retire at another point. So, yeah, you have to spreadsheet this thing out. But if you're just looking at back of the envelope, you can look at, all right, well, what do I want to live? What do I want to spend on an annual basis? And she figured that out closely to $100,000 a year. You just need to figure out what that 100,000 is going to buy in 10 or 15 or whatever year that you really want to retire. And then look at, all right, well, divide that by a distribution rate, 3%, 4%. And then that's going to give you kind of a number to shoot for. So I don't know. We're just dragging these things out.
You're spitballing.
All right. Good luck. I'm glad you warmed up to you. She's like, she only likes one of us, Al.
No, she likes both now.
Yeah.
Probably likes you better because you're like fine wine. It just keeps getting better.
I am. You know, remember that one guy who was like, yeah, I came back like 4 times. And I gotta leave again.
It was terrible.
I just can't do it. But they keep coming back. Why do you guys keep coming
I wonder
back?
why he kept coming back.
It's like, man, I've tried you now 4 times.
This has got to be a good show. No, not really.
God, it's like, we got little Barney and Betty from Northwest New Jersey. He goes, hey, Andy, Big Al, Joe. I'm a big fan of the show and greatly appreciate the combination of sound financial information and humor. Personally, I don't think Joe's sarcastic enough.
Really?
No. Should listen to the show a couple of years ago.
Wow. Okay.
Try to tone down. You get all hopped up on Celsius, and then you got to deal with life.
You've toned down a little bit, Jeff.
This is my outlet.
I think once you started, had family, kids, I think you toned down a bit.
So I'm coming back hotter than ever. We should really lay into this letter. All right, I'll lay into you. I can take it. All right, I'm currently 56. My wife's 57. I recently switched from full-time to part-time work. I'd like Joe and Big Al to spitball for me the earliest that I can quit the part-time work and fully retire. All right, here we go, Barney. For retirement savings, currently have about $3 million in. Okay, that's enough. You're good. You're done. Oh, I don't know. Can I retire? By the way, I got like $20 million. Please call me Barney and Betty because I don't want anyone to know I'm super loaded.
Sounds like you're ripping on him.
No.
He can take it.
She said he could take it. All right, $3 million in a pre-tax 403b, $450,000 in 457 accounts, $150,000 in a Roth IRA. Oh, $1.2 million in a taxable brokerage account. $13,000 in HSA. Oh, we have $1.3 million in home equity. Come on, dude. I make $315,000 per year for my part-time work.
Part-time,
oh, woe is me.
$315,000.
Oh my God. Poor you. Part-time, $300,000. Most people don't make that in a lifetime, Barney. My wife works full-time and makes $250,000 a year. All right, I contribute about $30,000 a year to my pre-tax 403b, 22 into the 457, $8,000 per year in the backdoor Roth. My employer contributes $40,000 per year into the 403b, total $100,000 per year. This will obviously stop when I fully retire. My wife contributes $30,000 per year to her pre-tax 403b, $8,000 to the backdoor, $8,000 to her HSA. Her employer contributes $23,000 per year into the pre-tax 403b, total $69,000 per year. All right. My 3 kids will all be off to college in 5 years. Their college is completely funded by the 529 plans. Oh my, it just gets worse and worse for this guy.
Another one.
I mean,
okay.
Yeah. In 5 years, we'll sell our current home, buy a smaller house or a condo, and net about $300,000 in profit.
Let's add that to the total.
In terms of expenses, I spend $5,000 a month. Okay, what is this? In terms of expenses, my portion of the household expenses is currently $22,000 per month. This will decrease to $17,000 per month in 5 years when we downsize and have an empty nest. I currently draw $60,000 per year out of my brokerage account to cover the difference between my income and expenses. This difference will eventually be covered by the $300,000 profit from the sale of the house. My wife will work until age 67, at which point our combined Social Security benefits will 100% replace her income. Thus, I think we can keep my wife's income, her portion of the household expenses, and our Social Security benefits out of the analysis.
Okay.
I've not heard anything bad yet. Not even close. Okay, I like Kentucky bourbon with a little large round ice cube.
Why has that become so popular?
Yeah, I'm not a big ice cube guy.
You're not.
No, I like the rocks. I'm here to tell you, the big ice cube just, I don't know, doesn't do it for me.
I want to chew ice. The big ice
Yeah,
cube
me
doesn't.
too.
You can't do
I'm
that.
an ice chewer too.
Yeah.
I like to. What is that? What is that? Just
It probably means we're OCD or something. I don't know.
yeah.
That's
Because look at my pen. I chew on my pen. I chew on ice. All right. So the wife, she likes a little New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc. I drive a 2021 Honda CRV. My wife drives a 2024 Hyundai Telluride. We have no pets. Do you agree with maxing my contributions to my retirement accounts, even though this means taking some money out of the brokerage accounts? I would like to retire as soon as possible and have several hobbies to occupy my time. My wife loves her job, so she's fine working until 67, 70, until while I enjoy it. What total do the retirement savings need to reach for me to retire? At what age do we switch from 3% to 4% in terms of a safely yearly withdrawal rate on the retirement savings? Or should I just use 3.5%? Thanks for your spitball. Okay, there's a ton of assets here, ton of income, a ton of savings. Can he retire and do some cool stuff as soon as possible?
Yeah, so he's starting with 5 million, Joe. And the only problem is the spending. So 22 grand a month, if you run that over the course of the year, I just divided that into 3%, just at age 56, I think he said he was. That was one of his questions. When to use 3.5, 4? I personally use 3% around 50, 55, 3.5 at 60, 4% at 65. It's not a hard and fast rule. It just gives us a ballpark idea. If you take 22 grand divided by 3%, you're going to need about 7.9 million, and you got 5. So, but in 5 years, when your spending is 17, I think that's no problem. So you could retire right now if you saved a little bit on spending. Otherwise, you got to grow the portfolio a little bit for that kind of spending. But again, assuming that the spending is less later.
I got 8.8 million now.
8.8?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 22,000 times 12 divided by 3%.
Yeah. 0.03 divide 8.8 million.
You did. Okay.
Yeah.
I got 7.9.
It's the battle of the calculators on YMYW.
I got a little. What do you have? You're using your phone. I got an HP 12C here.
It's a HP app.
So, but what I'm confused about here, so in terms of expenses, my portion of the household expenses is currently $22,000 a month. So did you get 8.8, bud?
I did.
So it's
I must have done it too fast.
so $260,000 a year is his portion of the expenses.
That's what he's saying. He's saying, let's keep the wife's out of there. She's covering her side, and her income isn't going to change because she retires and Social Security takes over.
Okay, and then so Barney makes $300,000 a year,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
What's his income?
Yeah, 315.
Okay, so he needs 260 after tax. He's making 300. So with his savings that's going into the 403B and the 457 plan, he's taking money out of the brokerage account and he's funding those accounts. So I don't know if that makes a ton of sense because he's going to have a ton of money in retirement accounts, and they want to spend high dollar in retirement. His wife makes $200,000 a year, and she's going to continue to work until age 67. So he's taking money from a brokerage account that's going to be taxed at a capital gains rate. He's taking the money and he's putting it into a retirement account. He's getting a tax deduction today, but then the money grows tax deferred, but he's going to have to pay taxes on those dollars at a later date. So I think the math is, all right, well, what tax bracket are you in today? What tax bracket do you think you're going to be in the future? It sounds like he's relatively going to be in the same tax bracket because a ton of the money that they're saving in all of this match is going into a qualified plan. So all dollars that are coming out is going to be taxed at ordinary income rates. So I don't know if that makes, I would have, of course, to get my HP 12C a little bit more exercise here, but I don't know if that makes sense unless if I'm going to take money from a non-qualified account and put it into a brokerage account to reduce my taxable income, I would do conversions and keep my taxes the same versus what he's currently doing. So
Yeah,
I don't know if I like that move at all.
I'm with you there because he's already got 3.5 million or 3 million in retirement accounts. He's adding to it. He's still young. I mean, that thing can double twice. I mean, can you imagine what the RMD is going to be in the future? So I don't really, the only reason I would take money out of the non-qualified account and put it into retirement if I was doing Roth, just like you said, because then I'd like more tax-free. But yeah, agree with you there. So I did a little fat finger on my calculator. So 8.8 million is the correct answer. Now, if you use 3.5%, again, this is just to give you in the ballpark. Even if you use a 3.5% distribution rate right now, you need 7.5 million. You got 5, so you can't really retire right now at this spending level. But as you say, your spending goes down $5,000 per month in 5 years. Then it starts to look pretty good, right? So now you can. I think you can make that. So. Yeah, I think you will be on track.
I think he's really, really close, to be honest with you, because there's a lot of calculations that he needs to do. So let's say he retires as soon as possible, tomorrow, you retire tomorrow, you're going to have a large distribution rate, $264,000 into 5 million, right? It's 5.3%. It's not awful. Right? So you take 5.3% out of the overall account for the next several years, and then it's going to be a little bit less because your spending is going to go down, right? Depending on what the portfolio does. What will kill him is the sequence of return risk. So if he retires today and takes 5.5% out because that money needs to last quite some time, but there's all sorts of things that he could do to say, all right, well, here, I'm going to spend $265,000 a year for the next, let's say, 15, 20 years. And then I'm going to tone that thing way down because I'm not going to be doing the hobbies. I'm not going to be traveling. I'm not going to have membership of the country club or whatever the case may be. So, people spend a little bit higher in their first 10 to 15 years, and then they kind of slow things down, and then they spend a little bit less, but then there could be healthcare costs. So I think he's super close here.
Yes.
If I was him, if I hated what you're doing and you got $5 million and your wife is working full-time making $200, see you later.
I wouldn't do that at the spending level, me personally. To me, that's too rich of a distribution rate at age 56. But
5%?
More than 5.
But he's going to get Social Security. He's going to tone down his savings in a couple of years. His wife is working full-time.
I mean, so here's the problem with this kind of question is we really need financial software to plug all this in because there's a lot of variables. So we're just giving you a quick answer based upon what's in front of us. And in my case, my phone. In Joe's case is HP.
Yeah. And this is why it's called the spitball.
This is a big wad spitball here. Sure.
Anyway, I wouldn't retire just yet. Also, I'm just thinking about you still have kids that are at home.
But the kids are, I suppose, but the college is paid for.
No, I get that, but then it's like, all right, I don't know. I'd let the kids get through high school at least. That's kind of how I would think about
it. If you can be flexible in your spending, if it's a hard, fast, 270 plus a cola, it's super tight. But in down markets or things, if most people spend a little bit more some years, a little bit less the other years. It's variable. That's why you have to be looking at this constantly, and it's a process. It's not, here's a spitball when you're 57 years old, and then you're going to come back 15 years from now when your $5 million portfolio is 2.5 and coming blazing.
Wait a minute, Joe. He said it was okay.
Hey, yeah, where's that Anderson punk? He said I was all right. That sarcastic a-hole.
But on the other hand, $5 million is a lot of money. So you can definitely retire tomorrow. You just have to probably make a couple changes.
Calculate your likelihood of retirement success with a financial blueprint. Click or tap the financial blueprint link in the episode description, input your details, and our free tool will analyze your current cash flow, assets, and projected retirement spending. It'll output a detailed report with 3 scenarios to help you determine your probability of retirement success, including future taxes and actionable steps you can take now to achieve your financial goals. Next, schedule a free financial assessment with one of the experienced human professionals on Joe and Big Al's team at Pure Financial Advisors to review your financial blueprint. They'll help you develop a thorough financial plan that addresses your unique immediate needs and your long-term retirement vision. At the end of the assessment process, you can decide whether Pure Financial Advisors is a good match for your retirement planning needs and what next steps look like. Click or tap the links in the episode description to get your financial blueprint and to schedule your financial assessment. Both are free, courtesy of Your Money, Your Wealth and Pure Financial Advisors. Next up, when Joe and Big Al had the opportunity to talk to the IRA guru himself, they jumped at the chance. And that show has now become our most viewed podcast episode of 2024 on YouTube. Here's a clip from the fellows chat with Ed Slott, CPA.
Someone reads the book. How much money do you think that they could save in taxes over their lifetime?
Depending on their balances, obviously, but hundreds of thousands or millions. You know, people say, look at the market every day. Well, don't look today, but look at the market every day. And they say, oh, I made 10,000, I made 20,000, I made 100,000. You can make millions in good tax planning. Most people don't see it. They don't think it's money, but that's money that you would otherwise lose. If somebody told you you're going to lose $1 million unless you do that, they would probably do something, do some of the good planning I talk about in my book, and I'm sure you mention all the time on your program, because we seem to be saying the same thing. They could save a fortune in taxes, and that's more money that they can use in retirement and will go to their beneficiaries. And if you do it right, all tax-free. So this whole thing that we're talking about comes down to one big giant bet. And the bet is, do you think future tax rates will go up? And I think the answer is yes. You know, I asked a group, Al, this same question. I always ask advisors and consumers. I always ask them, do you think taxes will go up? And about half the room raises their hands. And then I ask this question. All right, I get that. How many of you think taxes will go down? Nobody raises their hands. And then I say to them, but that's the same question I just asked you. If they're not going down, they're going to go up. But even if they stay, I mean, you know, this is higher math, you know.
Right.
But that's the whole bet. If you think future taxes are going to go up, the Roth bet, or getting the money out of the IRA and putting it into other tax-free vehicles, or even doing charitable planning, that will pay off big time for you and your beneficiaries.
Yeah, when you think about, Ed, you think about all the taxes you pay in retirement, pulling the money out of the accounts. Extra income, extra adjusted gross income causes all kinds of extra income on Social Security, on real estate earnings, on and on and on. Then you add in, you pass away, now the marriage penalty, because now you're on the survivors on the single brackets. And now when the survivor passes away, the kids have to take the money out in 10 years, many times in their high earning years. And then if the estate tax deduction becomes a lot less as planned in 2026, there's all kinds of reasons to do this right now for the next 2 years while we know tax rates are lower.
Yeah, you got to take advantage of low tax rates. In fact, in my book on page 28, I give the history of tax rates from the 16th Amendment, 1913, when our current system started, till right now, 2024. The reason I do that is because most people, look, nobody wants to pay taxes before they have to. Everybody hates taxes, but you can use these rates to your advantage. So many people don't realize that these are the good old days. So I put that chart in there, and a lot of I highlight in the chart the years people like me and maybe some of most of the people who are worried about this, the baby boomers, they seem to have the most money now in IRAs. The years the baby boomers were born, 1946 through 1964. And I remind people by showing them that chart, I do it in seminars too, that the top federal tax rate for 1946 through 1964, the top federal tax rate for each of those years exceeded 90. That's 90. You're not hearing me wrong. Exceeded 90% except for the last year, 1964, when they dropped the top rate down all the way down to only 77%. And they tell me, I don't know, because I was 10 years old then watching the Beatles on Ed Sullivan, but they tell me when they dropped the rate down to only 77%, the whole country did a happy dance because it was only 77%. Well, now that's more than double today's top tax rate. So you need to take advantage. It's the opportunity of a lifetime to bring down these IRA balances. If anything, Congress, with the Secure Act, the Insecure Act, I should say, encouraged us to trim these balances now, get them out at the low rates and build up in tax-free vehicles to protect against the uncertainty of what future higher tax rates could do to your standard of living in retirement.
Yeah, I think it gives people a lot more flexibility. What do you think about people that don't necessarily have the money to pay the tax? Would you ever recommend someone paying tax out of the IRA to do a conversion?
No, generally not. And remember, a lot of things I'm saying are for people with larger balances. If you don't have the money to pay the tax, maybe you're not in a big tax situation. It's not for everybody. But the more you have in your IRA, the more is at risk. That's why I said earlier, the people at the highest risk are the people that save the most for retirement. It's always that way with tax law. You know, it always seems to come down that our tax system is a penalty on savers.
Check the episode description to watch the entire conversation with Ed Slott, CPA. I think we still have a small handful of copies of Ed's book, The Retirement Savings Time Bomb Ticks Louder. Ask for a complimentary copy when you have your financial assessment with Pure Financial Advisors. In the meantime, episode 468, called How Much to Save in Tax-Free, Tax-Deferred, and Taxable Accounts, was our most downloaded episode of 2024 across all podcast platforms. Your Money, Your Wealth podcast officially became a video and audio podcast in October of 2024, but this was back in February, so it's audio only. Then we'll wrap up the best of 2024 with one of my favorite video derails of the year.
Got Brian from Naperville, Illinois. I understand that tax diversification is important and that money should be saved in the taxable, tax-deferred, and tax-exempt accounts. However, I've seen a description about the proper proportion to be held in these accounts. I understand that this is a complex idea and it will be somewhat different for each individual circumstance. However, there should be some general guidelines, and ideally, there should be a calculator or formula that should help investors determine the correct target percentages. So having 80% versus 40% assets in a Roth is a big difference, and it will have a huge impact from a tax perspective. Okay, I agree.
Yeah.
I think the question is, what should be the proportion to be held in each type of account?
And
You already answered it.
The answer is it depends.
How much money do you want to spend? Do you want to spend $200,000 a year, or do you want to spend $40,000 a year?
What tax bracket are you in now versus in the future? So
do you want to leave a legacy? Do you want to give it all to charity? There's so many different factors.
Exactly. Real life example. You got $100,000 in an IRA and nothing else. Keep it in the IRA. You're going to be in the lowest bracket. Who cares? You got $5 million in an IRA. You better start converting that because your required minimum distributions are going to be through the roof. But it does depend. If you're going to give a lot of it away to charity with the qualified charitable distribution, you can keep a lot more in. If you don't have kids and it's just going to go to whatever, maybe you don't care about the taxes as much. But I will say one other thing is a lot of times when people are thinking about this, they think about what's best for my kids. But it's like, no, it's really what's best for you because people are living into their 90s. So you retire and you may have 30 more years to be in a high tax bracket.
Let me try to answer this because we get this question often and everyone wants a really simple answer. Okay, well, here, have 30% in a Roth and 33% in this and 33% in that and the rest in cash.
Yeah.
Here's what they have to do. You have to do a little bit of work. There's no general guideline. There's no rule of thumb. I wish there was. For me, 100% Roth. There you go. That's what you want. You'll never, ever pay taxes again. But I don't know what tax bracket that you're in. So you could overpay in tax by getting everything in Roth. So it's not that simple. Is it 50-50? Maybe. But you can map this out by looking at how much money that you really want to spend. And then you map out what you have in each of these different accounts. So you take your inventory, how much money you have in tax-deferred accounts, such as your IRAs, how much money you have in Roth accounts, how much money you have in a brokerage account. And then you forecast those out, model it out at 6%. Now, then you have to look at your fixed income. Do you have a pension? Do you have Social Security? Model that out with inflation. And then you're going to look at your shortfalls. How much money is going to be demanded from the overall portfolio? Is it $20,000 a year or is it $180,000 a year? So if you have enough money, then you can model it a lot more effectively by saying, here, I need to pull X amount of dollars from my portfolio, and I want to keep myself, let's say, in the 12% tax bracket for life. So I might have to convert to the top of the 22% tax bracket today to keep myself in the 12% tax bracket forever. So those are the strategies that you want to start modeling out. I wish I could just say, yeah, just put 33% in each of the different pools and call it good. That's probably better than not doing anything.
Probably so. I mean, a couple of questions ago, we talked about Tom in Spokane, and what I would do is convert 100% of it because he's got so much pension income and not a ton of IRA. I would convert it all. But every case is different.
In the whole purpose of having money in each of these different accounts is having control over your taxes in retirement, because you're going to potentially, hey, I'm going to take enough out of my retirement account just to get me to the top of, let's say, the 12% tax bracket. Or for people that want to spend a lot more money, I'm going to pull out of my retirement account to the top of the 22% tax bracket. But I still need more cash flow. So then that's when you pull from the Roth. That's when you pull from your brokerage account, because those are going to be taxed at a lot lower rate. So you're controlling your taxes long term. So ideally, would it be great to have everything in a Roth? Sure, because then you know that you took the uncertainty of higher taxes off the table. But unfortunately, that's probably not the most effective way, because you're going to leave money on the table because you converted probably too much.
Yeah. And to me, there's one kind of foolproof way, which is you look at your tax bracket today. What's your top rate, your marginal rate, the highest rate that you're in? Let's say it's 33%, for example. Then you look at your income after you retire, before Social Security, before required minimum distributions. Oh, you're in a 12% bracket. You should be converting like crazy, right? When you look at what your income is going to be after your required minimum distributions and Social Security. So you just have to look at your income at different points. Now, if you're in a very high bracket, and you always will be in a high bracket, there's less urgency in a way, but on the other hand, maybe your kids are in high brackets too, and you want to convert so that you relieve them from taxes. I mean, it's so individualized.
Yep. All right. Hey, guys, great entertaining show and better information. My writing is worse than Joe's reading, so this should be fun. Oh, gosh. My reading is so bad. It's so embarrassing. I don't know why we continue to do the show the way we do
because it's entertaining.
We're going to just make an AI person read this stuff.
We should, yeah.
We are the Griswolds, Clark and Ellen. God, I love the Griswolds.
Yeah, I did too.
Remember, I used to call you Clark all the time.
Yeah, I think you still do sometimes.
You are Clark. Currently living in Tutsville, Florida.
I think that's Titusville.
Titusville, Florida. See? My reading is top notch.
I take it Titusville is not anywhere near where you went to college.
Guys are tired of getting. I was going to say Tittiesville or something, but I was like, that can't be right.
Well, you moved the U where the I was, and you skipped the I.
So we travel 5 to 6 months a year in Airstream Atlas motorhome named Nittany Lions.
Nittany, like the Nittany Lions.
So if you have an Airstream, are you supposed to name it? Is that the deal?
Some people do.
Yeah. My best friend, Mikey Martin, has an Airstream, and he named it.
Do you name your car?
No.
Me neither.
No. Car. I have to get in my car. It's not like I have to get in little Johnny to go down to the grocery store. It's like,
well, when I got my Tesla, I was supposed to put in a name.
A name.
Yeah. So I didn't know what to do. So
you call it car.
I put Tesla.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. I don't know if I could hang out with someone that names their automobiles.
Which
I
is
guess
worse,
why you
talking
name
about
your-
yourself in the third person or naming your car?
I think it's both. If someone names their car, they definitely talk in the third person.
They probably do.
Joe's got to get little Johnny to go to the grocery store.
Well, Johnny, come on over. We're going.
I got to get Clark some new Hogagoggin or whatever. Oh gosh.
Okay.
All right. Airstream.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. His name's was like he named it Dolores or something or Doris.
Oh, yeah, I think you're right.
We have been to Easternmost.
Easternmost.
No, thank you. Easternmost point, southernmost point, and the westernmost point, and the northernmost point in the lower 48 states. Okay, so he's been all over the U.S.
Yep.
Also, we have swam in Atlantic, Pacific, and Arctic Oceans. The Arctic Ocean swim was after a 600-mile one-way drive on a dirt road to Tuktoyaktuk.
And that's in Canada.
It's a really nice place, I heard. Oh boy, this is tough.
Oh, he says, Joe, can't wait until I hear you pronounce it. Let me try it. Tuktoyaktuk.
Tuktoyaktuk. All right, that's it. We're done. Thank you, everyone, for the wonderful questions. Andi, great job on putting all this stuff together.
Thank you for doing it.
We'll see y'all next week. Show Scott your money well.
As we close out this best of 2024, let's talk stats. Last year, you watched the Your Money, Your Wealth podcast for more than 38,000 hours on YouTube. You made it one of the top 10% of video podcasts on Spotify. You downloaded it over 1 million times in the podcast apps in the last year and over 4 million times since the podcast started publishing. You put Your Money, Your Wealth in the top 0.5% most popular shows out of over 3.4 million podcasts globally. Clearly, Your Money, Your Wealth is your podcast. I mean it every time I say it. This show would not be a show without you. We thank you for that. Your Money, Your Wealth is presented by Pure Financial Advisors, a registered investment advisor. This show does not intend to provide personalized investment advice through this podcast and does not represent that the securities or services discussed are suitable for any investor. As rules and regulations change, podcast content may become outdated. Investors are advised not to rely on any information contained in the podcast in the process of making a full and informed investment decision.